December 12, 2025. Story 1. The U.S. imposed new sanctions on Venezuela, targeting Maduro's family and 6 oil tankers, while preparing to seize more ships. Trump repeated threats of military strikes on land targets and warned Colombia's president, he'll be next. Senator Van Hollen called the drug interdiction story a big lie, saying this is about regime change by force. Senate Democratic leader Schumer refused to say he opposes regime change. Takeaway. When members of both parties name what's actually happening, and party leadership won't contradict it, the unnamed position is the position. Regime change is on the table. If you have ties to the region, plan accordingly. Story 2. 12 people died in Gaza from flooding and cold, including 3 children from hypothermia, as 2 months of rain fell in 2 days on families in damaged shelters. Israel killed 2 more Palestinians in Rafah. Israel approved 800 new settler homes in the West Bank, illegal under international law. Takeaway. Extreme weather plus destroyed infrastructure equals mass casualties. This is the predictable outcome of prolonged siege, not a natural disaster. Story 3. The Senate rejected extending ACA tax credits, 51 to 48, falling short of 60 needed. Without a deal by December 31st, 22 million people will see premiums roughly double. 4 Republicans voted yes, but it wasn't enough. Takeaway. If you're on an ACA plan, December 31st is your deadline to understand your exposure. Don't assume this gets fixed. Budget for the increase now. Story 4. South Carolina has 111 measles cases, almost all in unvaccinated people, with hundreds in isolation. Arizona and Utah also have outbreaks. Nearly 2,000 cases nationally this year, 3 deaths. The U.S. declared measles eliminated in 2000. Meanwhile, a Democratic lawmaker filed impeachment articles against RFK Jr. for restricting vaccine access. The FDA is considering a black box warning on COVID vaccines, reserved for drugs that can cause death. Takeaway. Vaccination policy is shifting rapidly. Whatever your position, make active choices rather than assuming defaults. Know your state's outbreak status. Story 5. Indiana's Republican majority Senate rejected Trump's mid-decade redistricting push. 21 Republicans sided with Democrats. Some described violent threats from Trump supporters. The Heritage Foundation warned that voting no would strip all federal funding from the state. Takeaway. Pressure campaigns reveal what's actually at stake for those applying them. When threats escalate to funding entire states, that tells you how important control of this mechanism is. Also, threats don't always work. Story 6. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was released from ICE detention after a judge ruled he was being held without lawful authority, but must check in with immigration today. A Somali-American U.S. citizen in Minneapolis was tackled, choked, and detained for hours by ICE agents who never identified themselves. He had his passport. Over 400 arrested in Minnesota since Trump called Somalis garbage. Takeaway. Citizenship and documentation don't guarantee protection during enforcement surges. If you're in a targeted community, travel with ID, have legal contacts ready, and know your rights when agents don't identify themselves. Story 7. Democratic lawmakers repeatedly called for DHS Secretary Noem to resign during a heated hearing. She defended raids, deportations, and use of force. Congresswoman Ramirez announced steps to impeach Noem, citing lies to Congress, ignored court orders, and reports of rape and beatings in deportation facilities. Takeaway. Impeachment efforts create official records even when they don't succeed. Documentation of allegations under oath has legal weight later. Story 8. A federal grand jury again refused to indict NY Attorney General Letitia James, the third rejection. The House voted to reverse Trump's order stripping collective bargaining rights from 1 million federal workers. 20 Republicans joined Democrats. Takeaway. Grand juries rejecting the same case repeatedly as the system pushing back. Bipartisan House votes show where Republican coalition cracks exist. Story 9. Disney is investing $1 billion in OpenAI, allowing its characters in AI-generated videos. The Writers Guild noted studios are partnering with companies that stole their work to train AI. Trump signed an order blocking states from regulating AI and threatening to withhold rural broadband funding from states that try. Commerce Secretary Lutnick runs companies in crypto and AI data centers while setting policy favoring them. Takeaway. The regulatory window for AI is closing at the state level by design. If you're in creative fields, the leverage your unions won is being routed around through investment deals. The conflict of interest is open. That's a feature, not a bug. That's December 12th.